G'day guys, welcome back to the SuperCoach Swordplay. It is Season 3, Episode 8. As always, I've got these two legends beside me here, JANATH'S and Spills, and we also have a very, very special guest this week who I'll introduce you to in a minute. But before we do that, Spillsy, how's your weekend, buddy? Have a good time?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Obviously, you boys know I got around to the dream time at the G. Had a massive decision to make here, lads. Do you go to your football ball on the Saturday night, or do you indulge in a bit of dream time at the G? I went last year. It was a bit of a horror show. Obviously, been an away game. Had general admission. Couldn't get a seat to save me life. I've got a reserve seat behind the sticks, and I thought, nah, stuff it. I'm gonna dabble in, if you will. So yeah, got to the dream time, and just watch Merritt go off his head. A player who I actually traded in this week, so I've done very well there. But yeah, it was great. A few prees at Young Jackson's pub, $6 scooters of Furphy, so that's a win every day of the week in my book. So yeah, the night couldn't have gone any better, and Sammy Durham's one of my favourite players at the moment, and how could he not be? Nothing better than seeing the Tigers go down. It's been a long drought, boys. 13 appearances, 9 years, but we got there. So yeah. Couldn't be any more happier, DR.
Excellent, man. A pretty decent mullet there, Sammy. Oh, I love a mullet. Remember, I'm from the 80s. I'm a lot older than you and JANATH. Dan will know what I'm talking about with the old mullets. But JANATH, how about your weekend, buddy? Did you go to the Blues game this week?
Unfortunately, yeah. So went to the Blues game, saw us get pumped. Did see King Harry kick a couple of drop punts. So there we go. Very relieved with that. But, I mean, the Blues were shocking. Lost 5 of 6. I don't know where the end's going to come with this team. Seriously, we don't even need any blood pressure medication because the game's over by the end of the first quarter.
I think you'll come good. I've still got hope, mate. I reckon if you can win 3 out of the next 4, season back on track. You never know, mate. Sometimes you just get on a bit of a roll. So I've still got faith in Navy Blue, mate. I'm not giving up yet, mate. But we have a Freo fan here today, Freo Tragic, a.k.a. Dan Mashman. So Dan is a writer at SuperCoachTalk.com, a veteran Supercoach, someone that I've been in contact for a number of years now. We've had hours and hours of conversation on the blogs and different websites here and there. But Dan, thank you very much for joining us, buddy. How's your weekend, mate? How you going?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I'm really stoked with Freo's form. Supercoach went okay, moved up a few spots, but yeah, just happy to be here. Obviously, I love doing all those couple of team reviews with you early in the season, and was hoping to come on, meet JANATH, and talk a little bit about the buys. I guess one of those sort of parts of Supercoach that people don't take all that seriously, but yeah, I think, serious super coaches do, but it can creep up on you. And I think a little bit of planning never goes astray. So I'll talk about what I'm doing there and, hopefully give the viewers a little bit of an insight into what they could possibly be doing to get their teams humming over the buys.
Beautiful, mate. Cannot wait for it, mate. Cannot wait for it. Thanks again for joining us, buddy. Really appreciate it. But look, boys, let's quickly do a round review. We'll do a bit of a rapid round review because we want to get to as many questions as we can. And thank you very much. It's, really blowing up the mailbag segment. But personally, guys, 25-29. Season rank is 10,773. So pushing very, very close towards that top 10K. Had some really good trade-ins this week. Spillsy's boy Zerrett came into the side as well as Humphrey B. Bear. So a really nice combo there. Said, see you later to Connor McKenna. He's just been underperforming. And Jacob Hopper went out of the side. He was a must trade out. How many injuries we had? We'll talk about some injuries to some very, very popular premiums when we get into things. But that was my week, boys. Another green arrow. Wasn't a monster type score. Saw some 27, 28, 100 type scores. So nothing like that. But all in all, pretty solid week. Very happy. Spillsy, how about yourself, mate? How did you end up scoring this week, bud?
Just a tad better, DR, 2,553. Another nice. Top 4% score. I think this is the second or third one we've had consecutively. So, ironically, when I said I'd start playing for leagues, we've improved dramatically. And we butchered the captain as well. Wasn't a good captain. Had Dacos. So, yeah, obviously he did get tagged. I was very comfortable that he was going to shrug it. He was on track for 120 at half time, but yeah, a bit stiff there. Couldn't quite finish off his great work. I thought he'd smash Kerno, honestly, but yeah, what a performance, what a season he's having, but wasn't to be on the weekend. ranked 12Ks. So, yeah, team's gone really well. Yeah, very, very happy with that. We trade in exact same trades as you, DR. Zeret, my man, how bloody good is he? And Bailey Humphrey as well. So you couldn't have asked for a better real trade. And obviously LDU and Hopper made way for those two legends. So, yeah, onwards and upwards here, lads. I'm very excited for my trades this week to get the team ticking again. But, yeah, very happy with how things are tracking.
Beautiful, mate. Janath, how about yourself, mate? Look, you've had a tough little time lately. Callum Mills in, Callum Mills out. Did the SuperCoach gods look kindly on you this week, legend?
I think we got the turning point with Ashton and Martin turning point. 22,662. Round rank 766, which was very, very good. Chef's kiss. Season rank now 3.7K. So I guess if we look at it as a holistic 2 weeks, gone up 800 spots, even though last round was a 4K rank drop and this round was a 4.5K rank increase. So I guess we'll take it. We'll take it at the end of the day. Made 3 trades, so used one of my last 2 boosts. Out went Mills, Hop, and Chandler. In came Sack Merritt with the captain, defied Murphy's Law spills. Jordan DeGoey, 92 on debut, was happy with his role. He didn't even look that good in terms of, it wasn't one of his good games, but he still got to 92, so I'm really happy with that. And then big Bailey Humphrey Bear, the big dog. What a game. He just loves the ball, loves the pill, loves the goal. He's going to be a good player. Can see him becoming a superstar for the game one day.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really fun player to have in the side. Just watching him week to week is a really fun player to watch, isn't he?
This draft, how good is it?
Oh, great draft.
I tell you what, isn't it looking phenomenal? We've already seen blokes have a major impact, haven't we, in their first year? So, yeah, I think this one will go down in history, boys. Yeah, good one, Jonathan. Good to see it hitting form again, mate. But look, quality always shines through, mate. Dan, how about yourself, mate? How did you score this week, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad for me. It was a 25-27, so just a couple of points shy of you, DR. I'm currently ranked about 12,359, so probably one good round outside of cracking the top 10K. As I may have mentioned off air a little bit, I've had some pretty terrible captain scores this year with Laird round 1, Captain Took when I brought him in for 40. I've had a day cost 70 as a captain score. So, yeah, if you sort of take those out, I'd probably be a bit better off. But not too disappointed with my team overall. Had Weddle on field this week. No Humphrey for me, but pretty happy to have Weddle's score there at D6. So brought Clary in. I could have got bloody Merritt and saved money.
Oh, you poor bugger.
You know, finally get Oliver in as a decent captain option. And what does he do? Go and do a bloody hammy. So, yeah, there's some pretty bad luck going here and there. But, yeah, I would love to have Humphrey in my side, obviously. But, yeah, it wasn't the be. So, too late for me to get him in, I think, at 290K or whatever he is. But I'll be looking at hopefully getting in sort of Wardlaw or maybe one of these guys that I can just sort of keep as bench cover for the year, I think. I think if I get someone like that in, maybe not this week or next week, but we'll talk about that later in my buy plan.
Sounds good. So all in all, pretty solid weeks from all of us. I think, Janath, you were the show off this week, mate.
Always
that big
is.
score yours. But look, all in all, I think, yeah, we can't complain, can we?
Nah.
Yeah, I think you might just be a bit of an overachiever all round now, Janath.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just a gun.
I think that's, just, not just in SuperCoach, maybe just as a general thing.
Oh, too kind, Dan.
100%. 100%. Well, boy,
carrying this podcast.
I did just say that we can't complain about our round scores, but I'm going to complain now because it is my rant. This is only going to take 30 seconds, boys. I'm going to give 2 blokes a bit of a bullet here. 2 blokes that I started in my side, both defenders who have now exited my side. And it seems as if as soon as they have exited my side, they've gone, bugger you, DR. We're actually going to start to perform. So the first one is Jordan Ridley. Gives me a season average of 78.8. The last time he was in my side, he gave me a 16 or an 18, I think it was from memory. But comes back last week with a 122. His highest score of the year. Look, the best he has all season as soon as I've dropped the bloke out. I lost money on him. I started him over Dacos. He's been a bloody nightmare. So sorry, Spills. I know he's one of your favourite players, but stuff you, Jordan. And the other bloke is one of JANATH'S boys. So I'm
whack.
the Bombers and the Blues a bullet here, because I tell you what, I said all pre-season, who am I starting with? Jordan Dawson. Come round one, I've got bloody Sam Docherty in my side somehow. So, boys, a season average he gave me was 84.8, and he's come back over the last month and gone 106, 111, 94, and a 135. 3 out of his top 4 scores of the season. As soon as he's out of my side, again, I'll lose money on him. And the thing was, before he actually got injured, there was a lot of talk who's going to hold Sam Docherty. I was in the hold camp. I was actually going to hold this bloke. Ended up having to trade him because of this injury. And look, the rest is history. A very quick rant, boys. But Spills, as I said, bugger Ridley and Janath, bugger Sam Docherty. The both of them can absolutely go and get stuff, boys. So that is my rant.
It's like telling off your favourite children, dear.
Look, it's nothing personal, Spills or Janath, but I'm so dirty on those two. So dirty.
I still love you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Same with you, Doc. How can you hate Doc? This is the only time you can hate Doc.
Look, you're right. I must admit, when he left Brisbane, I was spewing with him. And do you know what? From memory, right? I reckon it was Carlton had like pick 34 and 33 or very close to that. And we asked just say for 33, and I've gone, nah, 34, take it or leave it. Are you serious? This is Sam Docherty here. Oh, man, I don't want to think about. I'm very glad, though, that he's found a new home. I've got so much respect for the man after what he's been through in all seriousness. You can't dislike the bloke. But when it comes to a SuperCoach pick, not impressed with the fella. But anyway, let's change pace a little bit, Spills. You've got a nice graphic for us here, mate. We're going to go through your rookies for the week, mate. So take us through this, mate. Who we're going to trade in and who we're just going to skip for now, bud.
I'll try to get through this to my best possible ability. Obviously had a bit of a big one on the weekend. So, yeah, you have to bear with me, lads. But, yeah, we'll start off with the only real defender, like proper defender you'd probably be considering this week. So that's Fleeton. So 123K hasn't really set the world on fire. He's on the bubble. So, like, you want to jump on him, you'd have to act now. So only averaging 45, which is not great. Jobsky is good short term. We've got Cumming to come back, and I think it's curtains for him. So, yeah, should be okay cover for the buyers if you're looking for that sort of stuff. If he favours your buy, so be it. But, yeah, the role's not too bad. General defender, yeah, but probably if you're going to go there, probably have him on the bench to accumulate. Quick on this one, but O'Donnell, 102K, I think is the biggest appeal here. But look, I mean, average of 19, there's no way you'd be better off. Yeah, you'd be better off jumping on Drury at this time. So yeah, there's no way you're going there. But worth.
That's how bad he's going.
Yeah, so worth the sort of worth chucking him in there. But yeah, nothing really to be that wrapped about. But this bloke here, boys. So Georgie Wardlaw, 193K midfielder with a score of 85. So look, me personally, I'm going to wait another week, inevitably, just because the durability, it's quite ordinary. It's pretty poor. It's taken him a long time. He claims that if he was injury-free, he would be the #1 draft pick. That's how confident this bloke is. But
wow.
The fact of the matter is, though, he just hasn't had a clean run. So I'm going to wait another week. But if you're going to go there, I don't mind it. Job security is excellent. I think he had a lot to do with North, or being very stiff not to win that, but he had a lot to do with them nearly winning Sydney. He was a star for them on the nut, just dominated inside mid. We love that. Chuck him on field every day of the week. But personally, I'll be waiting one more week just for that insurance. I'm not confident. Can he back it up? I think he can. But yeah, that durability, you just got to be really careful of that. And then another one as well who we can look at in the near future. So Lachlan McAndrew, 123K. This is my sort of cover, I reckon, over the buyers, because I think my trade plans revolve around getting rid of Asava. I don't want to do it, but I need the 360K to make things happen. So if McAndrew can come in for Asava, that would be really nice in the next week. I think that would be beneficial. Ruck forward, nice handy DPP, only a 53. Hopefully he can back that up. I think his durability is all right. Job security is good short term with the loss of Peter Laddams, the peanut DR, if you will. I think that will make it.
Yeah, mate.
No, stuff him. But I think that'll make Mick Andrew a little bit better of an option. And all I need from Mick Andrew is him to play over that bye. That's all I care about, and we'd be happy. I'm pretty keen to hold him for the rest of the season at R3. And if he dies in the R, so be it, as long as he covers. But I think he's the best option to go down from Asava Radaglia next week or two. And yeah, Rolls obviously a ruck. And boys, how about this from Eddie Ford, just coming out of nowhere? He's been in a couple of rookie reviews of mine a few years ago now, 123K. Forward, general forward, which isn't great, but a 102. So not that he's going to score that again, probably unrealistic, hence why I'm not willing to really go early on him. But the fact of the matter is he's going to make a heap of coin. His durability is good. Job security should be good. He proved a very nice point. But the role's pretty terrible. If you're going to go there, chuck him on the bench. But ideally, you'd be waiting another week. And then last bloke here, just an honourable mention, Phoenix Spicer. He's been around for a little bit. 123K general forward. He's only here because he's on the bubble with a score of 50. Boost his average up to a whopping 36, boys. If you don't mind that, get him in your team maybe. No, I'll probably avoid, actually. So, yeah, I think...
It's double jury's average, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's pretty bloody ordinary, but yeah, should hold short term. But yeah, the role's terrible, and I would be avoiding. Lads, are there anything that you want to add on this one?
Oh, look, the only thing I'll quickly jump in and say is just with someone like an Eddie Ford, people may see that 100 and go, wow, you know, it's going to be massive cash gen. The only issue is it's in his first week, and that's going to be the first score to drop out of his cycle. So if he comes out next week, and it's very, very possible, you know, Ford playing for North Melbourne, he could drop a 40 next week. Just say he goes a 50 the week after, that 100's going to drop out, and he's going to make nowhere near as much money as possibly what people may be predicting or may be thinking. So just something to think about there. I'm not really keen on any of these rookies apart from George Wardlaw. I'm actually tempted to go early on him this week, just with my personal circumstances. And I'm thinking maybe getting a bit of strategy talk here, but for me, a move that I'm looking to make with Oliver out is to possibly even keep on to Oliver, bring someone like a Wardlaw in just to cover while he's out, because I think he could produce some really nice on-field scores for us. So that's maybe a strategy I'm looking at. Get a Chincotta out this week, bring a Wardlaw in. I'm not making much cash, but at least I'm getting what I would assume to be a decent rookie on field if I'm going to keep on to Clary just to cover for him. So probably my 2 cents there. I don't know a lot about the other blokes, but if we look at that, you know, 19 average, 36 average, we're not looking at anything fantastic there. 45 is okay for Fleeton, but his job security, short term is okay, but how long is he going to stay in for? So just my 2 cents. Janath, anything you'd like to add? I know we've got a graphic coming up for you, mate. I'm not sure if you wanted to leave it for that, but anything you wanted to add?
Let's go straight into it.
All right, mate. Well, let's get into it. This is absolutely elite. So take us through what you got here, mate. This is obviously from the third man up. Make sure, as always, that you're following Jonathan Russo on Twitter. They do some amazing work there. But, mate, there's a lot going on here. Tell us what you've got for us today, mate.
So this is just a little sneak peek into something I'm going to be putting out with Ross over the next couple of days. So this is extending upon what Spills had with his rookies, but it's two slides as well. So this is just the first half up until Judd McVeigh down the bottom. But we're looking into whether or not a player should be traded in, traded out, whether bench them, field them, loop them. So if we just want to extend upon the chat which we just had, the Cam Fleeton talk, I think I'm actually a bit higher than you two are on him. He's a general defender there was an intercepting defender in the VFL, and that's why I got brought into the team. Now, in the short term, his job security, I think, is actually better than some of the other rookies except for Wardlaw. The fact is that he's going to be playing a role that's vacated by Nick Haynes, Isaac Cumming, and /or Harry Himmelberg. So there's 3 big important defenders, cogs in that defense that is missing. And Fleeton was playing before they got injured as well. He looked good in that fourth quarter against St Kilda. So I think at 123.9K, if you're looking for a bubble rookie this week, it's probably slim pickings. It's Fleeton, it's Phoenix Spicer, or one that you might have just oversighted, Spills, Kane Baldwin from your Dons, who I'm not sure he's on this here, 172.9k forward. General defender is his role in the AFL. He's probably straight out for Jake Kelly or or who am I missing? A Jaden Laverde when they come back in. So I'm not too high on them, but just to consider, I guess. But on top of this, what we've sort of delved into is matchup-specific data. So this is something which we're going to be trying to roll out every week. So if you just forget about that first half on the right, then look on the right to see, okay, should we field them this week? Should we bench them? Should we loop them? So I've got their averages just in general, the venue they're playing at this week, along with their average at the venue they're playing at this week. So take a look at someone like a Will Ashcroft. He's played one game at Adelaide Oval for 55, but if he was playing at the Gabba, that number balloons up to 98 or something. Someone like a Kate Chandler at the MCG, his average is only 74.3 in general, but at the MCG, it's 82.8. And then on top of that, we've also got some matchup-specific data. And this is specific to the position that the player is playing, which is why I've got AFL position, or SuperCoach position, and their AFL listed position, because obviously that can differ oftentimes. And this is how we get this data. So if you take someone like Mitch Johnson, he's an inside mid, and inside mids against Melbourne, they exceed their average 62% of the time. So that means that on any luck, Mitch Johnson has a 62% chance of exceeding his average if he plays a full game this week. And I think this is really useful data when you're considering whether or not to field or to loop or to bench someone. Elite. So we're going to be putting this out this week. If you want to go into the next slide as well, DR, just show what the color coding means, because I know there's a fair bit going on here. So we've got 3 different colors. We've got break even color coded. So obviously we want to have low break evens. That's what we're looking at there. We got average at venue, also color coded. So if you've got a high average at the venue, someone like a Ruben Jinby, when he plays at Optus, averages 73.4. That's really good. You'd take a 73 on your field from a rookie any day. And then the opposition data. So if we have a look at wingers against Essendon, now I'm not advocating to field Campbell Chesser, but wingers against Essendon exceed their average 75% of the time. And I think that's their SuperCoach average, their fantasy average. That's quite handy, isn't it? So Dylan Williams against Richmond, really good field option this week. 61% of the time, designated kickers that get kick-ins and are their main source, their team's main outlet out of defense. They exceed their average 61% of the time against Richmond. So again, that's where we come to our verdicts, which is in the final column there. Take it with a grain of salt. That's just how Ross and I view the situation this week. But as always, any support on this will be appreciated. You guys can shout us out with whatever players you may disagree with, why you disagree with them. We're just putting the data out there to make it available for everyone to help everyone out.
That's crazy. It's like mine on steroids. That's unreal.
That's such elite data. Like, seriously, I'm going to take, it might take me a week to get through all that.
And the thing is, like, rookie roulette. Yeah, rookie roulette these days. Crazy. This is the best chance to be able to cheat the system. I think this is the best chance to cheat the system. It's like you're throwing around your own ball there. Absolutely elite stuff, mate.
If I was to put that together, I'd have to quit my other job.
I can relate to that.
He's our numbers, man. He's our numbers, man.
I know.
He's on the pod for a reason.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
I was saying, mate, I thought this pod was meant to be just a bit of fun, but Janath's come in and just turned it into something completely different.
Now all of a sudden we've gone from the front bar to first crack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right, buddy. Janath King.
Exactly. Janath King's coming.
Oh.
Will be elite.
Shout out, David. And also, just one other thing to mention is you were mentioning Lachlan McAndrew in your chat, Spills. I think it's perfect that his bubble game aligns with after his bye. So he's got the game this week. You'll assess how he goes, and then you'll also get to see whether or not a Hickey comes back into the team after his bye. So you're basically considering this in 2 weeks' time, and you can almost pencil him in as a downgrade option for that week with your upgrade target cadence going.
For sure. 100%, mate.
Beautiful, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, the next topic we're going to get into is a little bit of DPP watch, and JANATH'S numbers is coming up. So a little bit different this week. We're looking at, what do we got here? 6 players who may be in line for some potential DPP. So JANATH, take us through what you got here, bud.
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much today.
Never,
but
never, mate, never. Listening to our lemon tree.
These are just 6 of the players that we're all just nervously watching to see if they get DPP watch. Sometimes our trades are dictated by them. I know a couple of weeks ago when you both, Spills and DR, you jumped on Max Gawn, you're thinking, oh, he's a shoe-in, isn't he? Well, I have to say that I do fear a little bit, but rest assured. All right,
I don't fear.
Jack McRae will be a mid-forward come this time next week. That is ridiculous to think about, but he cannot lose his forward eligibility because he's played enough percentage of time from the start of the season until now.
What is
Max
Bevo
Gawn
doing? Wow.
I mean, if he gets a role change, that could be SuperCoach gold. Max Gawn needs to play 35% forward in round 12. Now, these are numbers I've crunched just based off of time played in their potential dual position this year to get to this number for round 12 specifically. So Max Gawn, 35%, because he's already at a 35% forward threshold. So you guys better hope that it's a bit of a blowout. They rest big Maxi forward, and then he gets a DPP, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. What I do worry about, though, is Sam Walsh. Now, I was very close to bringing him in last week. That was what our whole debate was about, Spills, wasn't it? And this man goes out and has 96% midfield time. And his forward percentage has dropped from, I think, 37 or 38% down to 34%. This time last week, I was saying, DR, that he needs 44% forward time over his next 2 weeks to get DPP. And he still needs 41%.
We thought it was a lock.
Oh, we thought it was a lock. Well, Bossy finally got his brains out, and he put him in the midfield. And wouldn't you know it, he still needs 41% time forward to get DPP. So I think we may just have to, if we get him, it's a luxury. If we don't, so be it. He's just going to be midfielder. Jaden Short, I thought, was a shoe-in for defensive status, but he had 65% midfield time on the weekend, which is interesting. But it's going to be interesting to see how Andrew McQualter, the new interim coach of Richmond, uses him this week. That could really shift that 52%. He could be playing out of halfback, getting all those free kick-ins like we'd like from Jaden Short. And I think Christian Petrarca and Nick Dacos, it's almost impossible for them to get DPP this time next week. 95% respectively as a forward and as a midfielder for the two of them. Petrarca would have been awesome. He was at 34% at the round 5 heading into round 6 DPP, but he's just been shifted into the midfield. And if Clayton Oliver is, well, I think he is out this week, it's almost, they'd have to be playing a bunch of James Jordan, Tom Sparrow types to make sure Christian Petrarca is going to be getting DPP. So I reckon that's a bit of a wash, but yeah, there we go. That data again is available to all of you guys. Awesome. Use it as you will. If you want to plan your trades around it, do so. But let's hope, for the sake of having some fun in SuperCoach, this time next week, Max Gawn and Sam Walsh are both forwards.
That'd be good. I'm hoping for Gawny. I'm hoping for Gawny. Do you know what? I'm not too disappointed about Christian Petrarca because he almost becomes a must-have in your forward line. So it's like I'm almost relieved that I don't have to bring this bloke in. You know, almost a little bit of relief there, I think. But again, JANATH, elite work, mate. I know you've been talking for a little while now, but it's time to rest that beautiful voice of yours up. And we're going to get our man, Dan, come on now and have a little bit of a chat about the buy. So we do have some graphics here. Dan's going to go through what his buy structure looks like. We're going to start off with round 12. We are going to skip 13 because it's a bit of a nothing round. Just two teams obviously have the buy. And then we're going to look at 14 and 15 as well. So, Dan, I've been really looking forward to this buy chat, mate. First of all, mate, would you maybe want to explain why it's so important to be actually planning for the buys?
Okay, well, just going through last year, there's obviously only 3 buys, but I was pretty, like, even from my opening team, I look at buys. So I managed to get through with scores over 1,900 for all 3 buy rounds last year. And I moved up about 5,000 ranking points from around 10K inside the top 5K in those 3 weeks. So it is possible to halve your rank over a few weeks if you can manage to do a nice even spread throughout the buys. This year, it's a bit different with the 4 buy rounds. It just happened. I mean, it seems to happen every year, but 1 buy round seems to be full of SuperCoach relevant players. That tends to be, well, seems to be that it's the last buy round this year, and we'll get to that. But just touching on, let's just go through it. This is my round 12 buy, who's missing. What I tend to do when I'm looking at the buys is move only players that I think could play onto the field. So guys like Constable, Madden, Cowan, you can see there I keep on the bench. And then I move players that are missing, like Sinclair, Goulden, Roberts is there on the bench as well. So I'll move those guys onto the bench, and then you'd look on who you've got on field. Now, you don't want any more than 4 players missing there, right? So Chincotta there, my plan here is to actually go Chincotta to Wardlaw. So I will have 18 players, okay? So I've got 4 missing there. Hopefully I'll have 19. Davey, who knows if he's going to – oh, sorry. I've got Ford there. He should hold. Davey, who knows if he's going to hold. So hopefully I'll have 18 in this buy round, potentially 19. So that's my plan for the week after next.
Dan, could I just provide a suggestion for that round? You're saying take out Chincotta for Wardlaw.
Sorry, Cowan for Wardlaw.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that way you get Weddle. You don't get locked into Weddle and Cowan on your defensive bench. You have a loop to switch around, get the better looping player on, that sort of thing. Great work. Yep.
Sorry, yep. I did mean to say that Cowan's coming out as a swap for Wardlaw. Give me an extra player on field. Chincotta could come back. I mean, this part of my buy rounds is I'm trying to plan for 18, and if Chincotta comes back, that'll give me the 19th player, which will definitely help. And, you know, maybe the SuperCoach gods will shine down on us and Constable will come back for a couple of weeks. I'm not planning on it. We might need it, like, maybe we need to burn a policeman or something. But, that's probably not a good idea. But maybe an effigy of a constable or something. But
stuff him.
Anyway, so let's move on to the next week. So this is 14. It's a little bit harder. So imagine Cowan now is Wardlaw. He should be on field in the midfield. So as it stands there, I've got 5 players missing. With Cowan to Wardlaw, that should be 4 players missing. You've still got dodgy players like Sharp and Eddie Ford that may or may not get up. I'm also, maybe this week, I may look at doing like a Weddle down to, say, a McAndrew on the bubble if he's made a little bit of cash. The reason for that is I'll need that money to upgrade the following week. I'm not making a whole heap of trades. A lot of people will maximize their trades during the buy. I'm not going to make a whole heap of trades. I don't really have them. I want to keep my players like Ashcroft in my side because I think he's still got cash to make, and I don't want to be just upgrading him unnecessarily. So hopefully this buy round, if Chincotta comes back as well, I'll have the 18-19 required to get me through this buy round. Okay.
Beautiful,
so this is where it gets a bit tricky. Okay, so obviously Wardlaw, who I brought in, will be missing. I may have McAndrew, which can come on for English. Okay, so Incotta's getting upgraded. Incotta will be upgraded because I've made a couple of downgrades, so I'll have enough money to bring him up to like potentially a Neil or one of the Freo boys, or depending on who I can afford. Probably not someone that expensive, but I should have enough money to upgrade him. And then if I have McAndrew covering English, I've just got those 4 guys in the forward line I need to cover. So there's a potential 18 there. So obviously, Clary, I'm hoping will be back for this bye round. I've discounted him in the other bye rounds. If Clary goes down and a couple of injuries, you know, I can end up screwed in this bye round. But I think it's one of those bye rounds where I think there will be quite a few high-ranked teams either burning trades to keep 18 on field, or they will be copping a donut. So my philosophy here is I'd rather not sideways trade a dead rookie for a 60. I'd rather hold that trade, because if you've got that trade with 3 or 4 weeks to go and a premio goes down, you can potentially make up 300 or 400 points out of that trade. So using it for 60 points on a bye round and then having it sitting there on the bench, I just don't see the value in that. So I am willing to kind of sacrifice some points on this last bye round. Usually I like to be better planned than this. My original starting team didn't have English. I didn't expect to be holding Sheasel through the buys as a keeper. You know, so things do change as you go through. Like the best laid plans for buys do change. So I don't want to be, I mean, if you've got, like, say you've got 18 trades at the moment, you could potentially plan on trading out one of these guys like a Cogs or a Sheasel on this buy and getting those like extra PMO on field and maybe scoring 100 points more than most teams. But I just don't have the trades to do it. So it's really team dependent what you're willing to sort of, you know, you're basically gambling on with the extra round this year. You've still got 9 rounds after the buys. So if you've got less than 4 trades, I think you're really screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, Clary hasn't been injured in years. He gets injured. You know, like there's players that we consider to be very durable that have been going down lately. So I think burning trades on getting an extra 50, 60 points during the buys could definitely come back to bite you. So that's kind of my strategy with the buys. I'm hoping to get it through reasonably unscathed. This is obviously the hardest one. I think it'll be hard for some. I've seen people with, I mean, obviously, we haven't touched on this, but Kelly's just gone down with a hamstring. But I've seen people with, you know, Kelly, Green, Cogs, Rosie, Sheasel.
Yeah, that's no good.
People, Butters, maybe bringing Doc back in. I mean, there's so many relevant players from this last bye round that it's one of the reasons why I like Walsh, but he's someone I just couldn't consider with this bye structure. I like Doherty at his price a couple of weeks ago. Couldn't consider him. I think he could have definitely scored similar to Sinclair for 40K lefts, but it wasn't going to help me during the buys, so I'd rather go Sinclair.
Dan, question for you.
Love it.
Without getting sidetracked here. Does the fact that Wardlaw, Fleeton, and Ford have the same buy change your perspective on whether or not they should be brought in this week as opposed to next? Like you get that extra week of maybe points on field because you're going to lose out on that in a couple of weeks' time? What's your thought on that?
Yeah. Look, ideally with my trade, I would be getting in Wardlaw this week, even early, just to cover Oliver. But I can't do Sinclair and Wardlaw, which trades I want to do. Okay, so that's why I'm waiting till the following week to switch Cowan to Wardlaw. Also, as you've touched on, Wardlaw's got a bit of an injury history, and I just want to see him get through 2 games. Quickly on him, watched him closely, and he passes the eye test. He looks like a cross between like Sarong and Butters. He just throws himself at the ball. Got good skills. Yeah. He took, like he just is. He could be that good. Like he could be one of the next best guys going around. Like I just love to see a young player. He's not that big, these guys that aren't that well built, but they can move around stoppage and get out of congestion. And he just looks really good, as well as tackling hard. So my plan with Wardlaw is to get him in and just keep him as bench cover the rest of the year.
You make a really good point, actually, about that extra round as well and not burning trades. But can I offer a proposal for you here? So let's quickly touch on Anderson. So he's got a great buy, which is one of the reasons you'd want to hold. Yeah. But a break even of 200, and in current form, well, DR always says a trade's worth 150K. He could well and truly lose 150K. What are your thoughts of cashing him in and jumping on Zach Merritt or someone like that?
I've thought about it. 1, the buy. 2, I got Anderson in 3 weeks. Oh, well, I think it was round 6 or something. I got him for 528K. So I didn't pay 610 for him. So for me, if he drops a bit of cash, I'm expecting a lot of people to get off him, and I think he might actually come good when Took's back. So I'm quite happy to hold him. He's not someone that I've invested a lot of money in. And although he's been disappointing the last couple of weeks, I got his 140 and his 189 in my scores. So I'm quite happy just for now to at least keep him through his buys. And to be frank, I don't really have the trades to look at sidewaysing someone like that at the moment. I've got 2 guys with reasonably high break-evens in Ryan and Hollins that I'm trading out this week. And so they're likely to bleed cash as well. And I don't know. I just, I'd probably rather just keep Anderson and hope he comes good. After watching him go 189 and owning him, it's pretty hard to trade him out.
Yeah, so I missed all that. He's averaged about 70.
But he gave me so much joy that day against Melbourne, and no one had him. And it was probably one of the best days I've had in SuperCoach watching him go that. I didn't have the VC or something on him because, he was just so good that day, and he was stealing the ball out of Clary's hands, and he just was insane. He kicked a goal, and I was so happy. So I'm not trading Anderson. Old Noah's staying in my team, and I just hope he comes good.
Yeah, mate, that was fantastic. Okay, there's only a couple of things I'll quickly add. The first one is what I really love what you did there was when you were talking about your rookies. Okay, so Wardlaw's going to be here, there. What we can do at times is we can get to round 15, for example, and say, all right, we count 18 players, but lots of those rookies that you may be counting may be part of your previous trade plans. So they may not be there round 15. So I always try to start with counting how many premiums I'll have that week, how many premiums we're missing, and then sort of go with the rookies after that. So I love the fact that you talked about bringing Wardlaw and then discussed him in your future weeks, being that obviously 14 and 15. So that's one point. Just be very careful, guys, when you are counting how many players you're going to have for the buys. Make sure you're not counting players, like your constables, that you'll see officially are available, because there's a slim chance they're going to be playing. And if there's any rookies that you'll plan on trading before their buy, make sure that you keep that in consideration as well. I think DPP is always going to be really handy for the buys. And just 2 quick observations. Round 14 seems really tough for defenders. You've got like Dawson, Dacos, you've got the Hawks boys there as well. So we're talking Mitchell, Weddle, Day, Sicily, all pretty popular picks as well. So that's going to be a pretty tough one, I think, in 14. And 15, it's the forwards, isn't it? So we'll have Taranto, Cogs, Butters, Rosie, the 2 North boys. It's not looking great for us, is it?
I guess the good way to bookend this chat is if you're thinking about buy planning, if your play didn't play last week, don't count them when you're counting how many players you'll have in future weeks. I think that's the best way to put it. So Constable, Madden, Roberts, Cowan, Chincotta, I would not be counting them in your numbers because it's just wishful thinking to assume they're going to come play. Same with types that are on the board, like a Matty Johnson type. I just count him off. Pretend that he's not there. See if you're okay. And then add him into the equation. Same with a Harry Rouston, who may come in for Josh Kelly, but if he may not, he may come in next week, he may not. Yeah. But it's a luxury having them, but don't plan to have them.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, if they come as a 19th or 20th for you, that's just a bonus. Luxury. They may push someone else's score off field for you. Great. But you don't plan for that. I mean, right now I'm looking at guys like Sharp and Davey, and like even if they do hold, they're probably not going to put up great scores anyway. But if they can put out a 30 or a 40 during the buys, it's better than a donut, you know. So you've just got to look at that and hope that the premiums that you do have fire on those buy rounds, because the other thing we haven't really talked about, and I don't know if we've got time to do it now, is that you've got real limited captains options during these buy rounds. Vice captain the last game of the round, and you're guaranteed to have a loot. So that's it. That's the good thing about captaining during the buy rounds.
Good chat, boys. Good buy chat. Now, last thing I will add, now we don't want to sideways if you haven't got the trades, but I think two blokes that you may look to sideways if you're in a luxury position could be someone like a Will Day or a Harry Sheasel. So they're two blokes that you may want to consider. We're not sure if they're going to last as premiums that you may want to do it, but only do that if you've got the trade. So beautiful, Dan. Great to see your team as well, mate. Looking pretty nice at the moment, buddy. I reckon you'll hit that top 5K in no time, mate. All right, boys, mailbag time. What do you reckon? Get in some of these questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, get the screen up here. We do have a few this week. I'll tell you what, the mailbag segment is getting pretty popular here. So we'll get through as many as we can, guys. And again, thank you so much for sending all the questions through. So first of all, we've got Aaron Kondik. How are you, buddy? Thanks for the question, mate. G'day, legends. Which duo do we like best? We got Stewart and Steele, or Sicily and one of Brayshaw, Steele, or Neil. I'll jump in here. I really like Tom Stewart. I know he had a bit of a down week last week, but great buy. I think he's pretty much locked in to be a top 3 defender. So I like the Stewart option. Boys, any differences there? Janath, would you go any different there, mate?
Nah, Stewart and Steele. I think Champion Data loves Stewart. 91 points were probably the worst game he's played in the last 5 years. he got it pretty lucky. So run with that 91. Stewart and Steele for me.
Yeah,
beautiful,
absolutely.
beautiful.
Yeah, don't worry about Stewart too much. I think Stewart was the second highest scoring defender against Freo this year. I think one other guy won, and like Sicily went 67 or something. Like, basically, like. Yeah, so don't worry about Stewart. Great buy. Steele's come good. Great buy as well. I think you can wait on guys like Neil and Brayshaw, especially Neil. So, yeah, definitely Stewart and Steele for me.
Well, Sicily's got a 40 break even too, so I wouldn't rule that out if you're looking at him this week.
Yeah, but would you rather have Stewart or Sicily in your side at the end of the year?
Yeah, definitely Stewart. But like, in terms of looking at
just one thing to note with Sicily is that in his post game, he said that he's now playing as a +1. So with a couple of taller backs there. So I really like Sicily as an option. I just think the buy and the fact that Tom Stewart has a stretch of games at GMHBA gives the one up there, as opposed to leaning on a Brayshaw, Steele, Neil, so that you don't have to get Stewart, basically. Yeah. So I think based off that, Stewart.
Beautiful, boys. All right, Shay, how are you, buddy? How many premiums are we supposed to have right now? I don't think there's any rules to it, mate. But look, probably from what
22.
I've seen, yeah, 22. What are you teasing your team completely now, mate? What are you doing? Look, I'll probably see on average teams with maybe 2 spots to fill, maybe to 5 spots to fill. So I've probably seen that range, 5 to 2, depending on where you're at. Boys, any sort of differences there? Do you think there's some sort of a rule or what you should aim to have at the moment?
Steady wins the race. It's because people are jumping at players that they think are premiums that 2 weeks later turn to be fake premiums. Will Powell, great example there. You're not counting him as a premium now. You don't want him as a keeper. But 2 weeks ago, he was a premium. So it's that trade-off between going for budget options versus the proven goods. And I think if you're in a position where your team, 18 of your 22 players, all right, I know they're going to be in my team at the end of the year, and you have 4 spots left going into this round, and you can pick off a player after each bye round, that's in a pretty good position, IMO.
So true, because there's premiums and then there's premiums. Because I remember when I was counting through my side early days, I had like Jordan Ridley. So counting here's a premium, I'm thinking, geez, I've got the same amount of premiums as other people, but they're scoring so much better. But they'd have a Dawson instead of a Ridley, for example. So you got that really top echelon. And then you've got those blokes that are really questionable. Do we even call them a premium? So great point there, mates. And thanks for that, Shay. Appreciate it, buddy. Next one is from Shah. How are you, Shah? Good idea. Who do you reckon will be the top 6 defenders post-bye? Look, geez, just off the top of my head, I'd go with Stewart, Dawson, Sinclair, Sicily, Dacos, and then, who am I going to say from there? We'll go Sam Doherty. He's going to screw me.
Maybe not. Maybe
any other boys? Any other defenders that you want to chuck in? Maybe for
I think it's
maybe Jay-Z, maybe Zeeble. Actually, bugger you, Doherty. I'm going with my man Zeeble. See you later, Doc. Jack Zeeble in.
It's really clear. Yeah, it's a really clear one, DR. So it's at the moment it's Dacos, Dawson, Ryan, Zeeble, Sicily, Sinclair, and then it goes down to Sheasel, Houston, Lloyd. So massive drop off. So if Sheasel can sustain his scoring, he's up there. But if he goes to shit, then it's clear as daylight. Like Sinclair will stay D6 for the rest of the season, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I disrespect today.
I was going to say Ryan, but I'll give Houston a shout as well.
I was just about to say it.
I think Port are playing well. He's in the right age bracket. He's got a great role. He's just I'm watching quite closely, and he's been in a few of my rare gems this year as a bit of a pod that no one looks at. When he was a bit younger, he was a bit up and down with his scoring, but his floor's been much better this year. And he hasn't quite hit those ceiling games, but I think he's got it in him. And I think he would be a decent shout if you're looking at someone that's a terrible buy, but he'd be a decent shout as someone that could possibly push into that top 6-8 defenders.
Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength there. And I was just about to say Dan Houston, 6 of his last 11 at Adelaide Oval as well. Yeah. Good role, loves a goal. And just 2 sort of budget options that I could see if we just think about points from their bye onwards being top 6 to 8. This might come with a bit of hesitation from others, but Alex Witherden, back-to-back 120s with our Shannon Hearn.
Is he? Didn't know that.
So he's got the round 14 bye, and then Bailey Dale. Jason Johannesson is out 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. We know that he just has a good role. He even has a good matchup this week. In fact, Gold Coast have, on average, the 2nd most points per game. So there's going to be plenty of kick-ins in the dew, up in the humidity, up at TIO Stadium. I think he's a good player. I think he could, those 2. Plus Houston could be smokies that are just flying a bit under the radar outside of your big 6 sort of defenders.
Yeah, I just hate trusting Bevo. Like, if they put Daniel back, then, exactly. and Richards has come along, and I just don't trust Dale at the moment. I love him as a player, but it's hard to trust any of those Bulldogs defenders. I mean, I guess if you really want to get a bit left field, you've got the Red Man as well. Like, he still looked okay with Essendon have got a great run, and he looked all right with Ridley back, but he's a bit more left field. He's not going to make top 8, but he could definitely outscore his price from here on at 470.
Excellent. Good job, guys. And look, Houston for me is an absolute burn, man. I just skip past that.
Yeah, I'm never picking him again, ever.
Nah, no chance. I'm with you, Spills. I'm with you, Spills. But
he's young enough. Next year, next year he could be top 3.
He's 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Yeah. Anyway, next question.
All right. Next one is from Craig Byron. G'day, Craig. How are you, buddy? Might be a bit too late for the pod. You're not at all, mate. Kane Baldwin, yes or no? Has a nice run the next 3 weeks. Look, I'm not huge on Baldwin. I'm a no, mainly due to price, and I think there's a couple of blokes in that could take his spot. Spills, might go straight to you very quickly. Maybe just a quick yes or no. Kane Baldwin, mate, yes or no?
No.
No. Janath, yes or no?
I'm just going to go with the spreadsheet. Consider, unless you like other options better and need the money.
Yes, no. Yes,
Bloody
no,
sitting on the
Janath.
fences,
No.
No.
No. Please and over him.
Yes, no, Richo, not consider.
All right, well, I think we're pretty much in agreement there, mate. We are a no for Kane Baldwin. But again, mate, if you're interested in him, follow your gut. Go for it, mate. He could come good. Who knows, mate, but probably not for us. Thanks, buddy. Our next one's from Chris. G'day, Chris. G'day, guys. Love your work. Thanks very much, man. Ignoring buys, can you rank these value premiums as trade-ins this week? Oh, this is tough. Steele, Sinclair, Sicily, and Laird. He's already got Merritt. Oh, wow. Look, for me, I'm gonna break them up into defenders and midfielders. So I would go Laird over Steele.
Yep.
And I would be actually tempted at the current price to go Sicily over Sinclair. That's my 2 cents. Dan, Laird or Steele, or Sicily or Sinclair, mate?
Oh, this is a bit of a tough one. I guess if you don't worry about the buys, I'd get Laird over Steele. And Sicily and Sinclair, like, I don't know. Last week I would have said Sicily, but this week after seeing what Sinclair did, he just looks so good. So, I don't know. Toss a coin on that one. I guess I'll go Sinclair just because he's got the better buy.
Yeah, I think Laird 100%. I mean, he will not be in the 500k mark for the rest of the season. He's hit form, and they're playing him full game time. You give him 4 quarters, he'll give you 140. You give him 3 quarters, he'll give you 100. So he's consistent. You know he's going to score well. I'll probably captain him this week, to be honest. That's saying something. And I'll go Sicily, I think, just because Sinclair sort of sputtered it up the other week. That does toy with his break even a bit, where, I mean, Sicily is a 40 at break even. I mean, yes, please. I'm 100% trading him in this week. So, yeah, hard to ignore that.
Janath, how about you, mate? Anything different?
I'm going to go the desk, Rory Laird, over Jack Steele. And then Jack Sinclair over James Sicily. Couple of reasons. One, 6 of his last 8 are at Marvel. And if you guys remember the stat from a while back, 18 of his last 19 games have been tons at Marvel. So that's big. And he's also 14% owned compared to James Sicily, 25% owned. If you're not worried about buys, then I think that could be the pod. That could be the pod. Well, I mean relative pod compared to the other big defenders for that run home.
Yeah.
Love it. So, mate, you've got 4 Lairds, 2 Sicilies, and 2 Sinclairs. So hopefully that helped you out a little bit, mate. Thanks for the question, bud. Causa Blackleach, how are you, Causa? Is it worth trading Sard or Day this week for a premium? Hopefully I can still get to full premium, but 13 trades for upgrades. Oh, look, my personal stance on that, if you've got 13 trades and 4 upgrades, mate, I would be holding personally. Who knows what carnage we're going to have in the next few weeks, mate, leading up to the buys. You possibly might want to do something there. Sard will come good.
I believe Sard will come good. He's had a poor stretch since his hamstring soreness. Yeah. But with our buy coming up as well, I don't see a world where he isn't at least a top 12 defender. Will Day I'm a bit more concerned about because last week was the week for him to really go big and he got tagged, which is a bad thing in 2 ways because that just shows that he can be tagged. And he doesn't have many good games matchup-wise for the rest of the season.
The only one thing with Day is that he was on about 46 at half-time at three-quarter time, and he salvaged that 70-something in the last quarter. So you can see he actually, like, points per minute when they let him go, he can score. And I definitely wouldn't trade him out till his buy. So, you know, I mean, I'm all about if you think you can get a better thing than Day, maybe do it, but I wouldn't be doing it until it's his buy. So he's not likely to bleed too much money. He's sort of too cheap to drop 50k or something. So I think, you know, he might drop 10 or 15k, but you keep him till his buy. he might put out 100. So, and Sard will come good. Leave him.
So it seems like we're in agreement, Causa. We would be holding, buddy. Thanks, mate. Next one is from Crazy Frogs. Julian, how are you, mate? One of my favourite people on Twitter. I absolutely love Jules. Hey, legends, what do I do with Cozzy Pickett? Hold, downgrade to Humphrey, or use 2 trades and upgrade to Merritt or Sicily? May the Frogs be with you. And you too, my man. I love this bloke. He's an absolute legend. Janath, we'll start with you, buddy. Firstly, what to do with Cozzy Pickett? Are you going to hold, Janath? Would you hold Cozzy, or would you look to move him on?
In isolation, hold. Someone's got to fill those 91% CBAs left behind by Clayton Oliver, whether that's a checkout teams, there's a Tom Sparrow coming in, a James Jordan. I'm fairly certain both of them are healthy. Pretty sure they're both healthy, so they could come back in. If they do, then I don't see Cozzy Pickett's role changing at all. If you want to get to Bailey Humphrey, I would love to hear what you guys think, because we all have him. Dan, you also have Humphrey, right? No?
No.
Do you think it's too late to bring Humphrey in your position?
I think it's a hard look. I think if it helps your buys, sure, you can jump on him now. I wouldn't expect to make any more than 100K out of him. Like, he may be that absolute. He might do a Sheasel and just keep pumping out tons. But realistically, looking at the history of rookies, we've had some great ones this year, but he will revert back to the norm and put up a 60 at some stage in the next couple of weeks, and that will hold his. I think will hold his ability to sort of make 150K from here. Now, if you've already got the 70K from last week, he's definitely making you 150K or more. But jumping on now, you've just got to think, hopefully he keeps that sort of 70, 80 average over the buys and fills in for you. And I can see that working. So I don't mind the actual, like you suggested, to go from Cozzy Pickett to someone like him, if it helps your buys. And even if it means you get a slightly worse upgrade out of it, I'd rather do that than, say, take him down to, like a low-priced rookie and get a really big premium out of it, So I think having 2 good scoring players in that respect would be a better way of going about it. Yeah, so Cozzy Pickett to Humphrey, and then getting up to a Merritt or Sicily or Sinclair or something would be great.
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, Jules. Next one is from Magic, another one of my favourites. How are you, buddy? As someone who missed Weddle, Atkins and Humphrey, and is now very concerned about completing my side with at least 4 trades left, / in a timely fashion, would you consider any of those 3 this week? I figure you need 70 from Weddle to justify it, or 80 from the other 2 with an elite buy. Oh, look, well, we sort of discussed Humphrey. Look, I'm finding this really, really difficult. How much do you value those scores during the buy from just, say, a Weddle, a Humphrey or an Atkins? I'd be bigger on Humphrey than Atkins.
Yeah.
Weddle, look, he could average 70. I'm finding this really hard. Boys, you got any wisdom on this? Because I'm really, really on the fence with this.
Let me ask Spills a question. Spills, do you reckon, so for Atkins and Humphrey to make 150K from here at a consistent average, do you reckon Atkins can average 84 or Humphrey can average 83?
I think Atkins is a lot more sustainable. But Humphrey has just come out and gone bang, and he's picked 6 in last year's draft, which has proven to be a good one. So I don't see why he can't keep that up. Whether he's going to ton up every week, look, I highly doubt it.
Humphrey's got more variables. Like, he could keep doing tons. Yeah. He could also put up a 40, whereas Atkins, I think, it's sort of looking between 60 and 90 points as his sort of range. Like, he may get a ton, but I don't think he's probably got a lower So he's got a higher floor but a lower ceiling, if that makes sense. Humphrey's the one that could make the more money, I think.
Yeah.
I'd sort of discount Weddle mainly because of his buy. And
yeah, Weddle's gone.
He's a first-year player. He's a high-end talent, but he doesn't have as well. I guess his role's all right now, but I just playing in that side. I think the Suns are a better side than Hawthorn, so I'd rather go Humphrey.
I reckon Humphrey's ball would be like 65, I reckon.
Something that's been understated here is you're paying $290K for a rookie. I don't think I'd want to be going Atkins for the uncertainty that one bad game could get him dropped. One bad game from Humphrey, and he's just going to stay in the team because he's an integral part of their team. True. Atkins is replaceable. Someone can come in and take his 20 kicks, like we saw at the start of the year. Constable had his 20 kicks, and you just replace the next one off the line. Gold Coast have a plethora of halfbacks. I don't think they have a number of guys that can replace Humphrey's role. Exactly.
And they've got guys performing in the VFL as well.
Yeah.
You know, they really do. They've got like Flanders, Constable, what's his name? Could be back soon. The
Weller.
Weller, which he might go to a wing and push someone else to halfback. So guys like Atkins and Fiorini, I don't know if their job security is that great.
Weddle's only at 230 to be fair, so it's like a 40K difference to a Wardlaw.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I mean, and Wardlaw's not going to make money this week because he's not on the bubble this week. So maybe Weddle in this position could be the answer. It's a good mix between he's got cash to make, but he's not overly expensive.
Yeah, but as a Weddle owner, you know, they just played West Coast and won by nearly 20 goals. So, you know, I mean, and he kicked 2 goals and he's playing at halfback. I mean, the chances him going 100+ again for the rest of the season, I think, are pretty small.
Good chat, boys. Good chat. Thanks for that, Magic. Hopefully that was a little bit of help, mate. But I'm finding this so difficult. I'm just really happy, without rubbing it in, mate, that I've already got Weddle and Humphrey and don't really need to make this decision, mate. But all the best of luck, legend. Appreciate the question, man. Our next one is from Romy. Romy, how are you, bud? Fellas, what to do with Nando? Thoughts on shorting him to Neil to make cash and upgrade elsewhere? Also, too late on Humphrey. So I think we've just talked about that about Humphrey, mate. Look, Dan's keeping on to Noah Anderson, obviously, because he got him at that cheap price and think that he can potentially come good when Tuke's in the side. Janath, if you were a Noah Anderson owner, keeping in mind that he's got that great buy, would you be trading him, maybe looking to cash him in? We've already mentioned he's got a really high break and close to 200 this week. If you were an owner, mate, what would you be looking to do?
I would be holding just because you invested in him knowing that he hasn't shown us that he can consistently perform before, but nothing in terms of his situation has changed from the situation we had 2 weeks ago, except you've seen 2 extra scores. Neil has the bye next week. Part of the allure with getting Anderson was to get through the buys, and I think you just got to hold at this stage. He will come good. I don't have any doubt about it. Yeah.
Just quickly, I mean, another young player, Goulden, had a couple of shit scores. People traded him out and he came back with a couple of 156s. So, I mean, if you recognise talent in a player and that's why you got him in, you've sometimes just got to keep the faith. And it may work out. Unless you're in a real situation where you've got no cash gen, and the only way you can make an upgrade is by shorting him. But I wouldn't short him to Neil. It's not enough money in it. And Neil's still got a pretty high break even and he's on the buy in a week or 2 anyway. So, I think if you're going to short him, you want to short him to someone in that 500K, like low 500s again, and hope that they get on a roll, like take a punt on a DeGoey or something like that. You know,
beautiful. Hopefully that helps, mate. Thanks again, buddy. On to the great catter. Talk about one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorites here is a great catter. Hey, guys, keep up the great work. Appreciate it, man. Just curious to know what your player split you have playing throughout each buy round, premiums, mid-price, and rookies. Well, we've already gone through Dan's. Mate, it's going to take me a little while to do that. What I'll do for you, legend, is I'll actually reply to your comment, mate, with my actual split, mate.
You click on the comment there. He's actually got a really good split. He posted his on Twitter, and I think he's having a bit of a flex there because he's got a very nice buy split there, Katter. So stop flexing. I know you got big muscles, buddy. Have you seen a picture of Katter? He's an absolute brick. He makes
there was a lot of talk of Spills' man crush on Shorty. I'm a bit the same with Katter here. He's looked after me for a number of years on SuperCoach Talk, Katter, and just to genuinely, I love Katter and have some great combos with him. If I'm ever in a bit of strife, might send him a DM. What do you reckon, mate? You know, so he's an absolute legend, Katter. So yeah, I'll reply to that in the comments section. Thanks, buddy. Next one, Jackie Jones. Oh, hey, Jack. Can I do Clary, McKenna, Samson, Ryan to Laird, Humphrey, and Atkins? We'll still have 19 trades, leaves me with 266 in the bank. If not both, is Atkins or Humphrey a better pick from now? Can I do it? Well, you can obviously do what you want, mate. Yeah, for sure. Laird, Humphrey, Atkins. Oh.
I'd make Humphrey and Atkins a proper premium with that 266k and just get a Fleeton or someone in.
Exactly.
That's a lot of that's a good position to be in if you're trading Clary.
Yeah, geez, you got a bit of cash there, don't you? Between Clary, McKenna,
and 19 trades,
Stamps, and Ryan. 19 trades is how the heck you got 19 trades?
Lend us one.
Wow, mate. I'll
tell you what. 19 trades, I would definitely be getting rid of Clary and in the hope that I could get him back in again because I think that's possible. Looking at that, Clary, McKenna, Samson, Ryan, you could almost get Laird, Humphrey, and another premium instead of Atkins and the 260. So you could almost look at that, or you go down to a rookie, get a proper other premium in, and save some cash for the buys for the next few weeks. So that's what I'd probably do. But I mean, if you set on Humphrey and he helps your buys, then maybe that's not the worst play to go Laird, Humphrey, and another. I wouldn't be getting Laird and Humphrey and Atkins though. I think that's a bit overboard.
Possibly overkill.
With the overbuys. Two of them is too much. One of those guys maybe, but like you said, Janath, I don't mind the old getting 2 Ubers, a rookie, and holding some cash for the buys.
I agree. I'm with you there. So I would be doing the same thing, mate. Using that extra cash, get a couple of premiums in, mate. I think maybe 1 if you're really keen on Humphrey or Atkins. But yeah, I think 2's probably a little bit too much in our opinion anyway, mate. All the best luck. Thanks, buddy. Our next one is from Chillo. Talk about a good SuperCoach talk, man. The old Chillo. How are you, buddy? Best midfield pod, say under 5% ownership.
You can click on the comment here as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
You know my opinion on this, DR. You know who I'm going to say.
It's not Parker, is it?
Can you click on the
Parker.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually the first one that came to my mind after you brought him up last week. I'm not going to take your credit.
He's gone 5 straight tons, and he's still only 540k. I mean, what more does the man have to prove?
That's good value. Yeah.
If you click on the comment there, I'm actually going to do. I don't usually do a rare gems. I don't know if you know this, Janath, but my article for SuperCoach Talk is called Rare Gems, and I basically just focus on players that are under 5% owned. So usually it's every fortnight, but I'm going to do a mid-only edition this week.
Awesome.
I'll probably write it tomorrow. Hopefully I have it out by Friday morning just for Clary replacements. So Parker, I think Parker might get a bit of a mention there. But, guys like Warner maybe as well. Parker's probably a bit more proven. Warner might have a little bit more upside. I think both those guys, I have to look into it a little bit more, but there might be a few options there if people want to get on a bit of a pod I haven't done too much research on it yet, but someone requested it at SuperCoach Talk, and then Chilo whacked that little message up there. So I'll definitely look into it. Who do you like, DR, as a bit of a pod midfielder?
Yep.
I'm jumping on JANATH'S back, mate, with Luke Parker, I think. I'm jumping right on his shoulders there, and he's going to carry me with a Luke Parker pick. I was just trying to have a quick look then. I might actually have a decent look and then reply, Chilo. Yeah. But look, off the top of my head, Parker, and again, backing on JANATH here, is probably one of the blokes that I'd really look at, buddy. And I was just going to say, make sure that you do give Dan a follow here. So there you go, Freo Tragic there, and link will be in the bio. So looking forward to that come Friday morning, mate. Next one is from Jared.
I just have a quick update. Spills' fuse has gone out.
Oh,
his electricity's cooked. So I'll be his voice box for the rest of I was
going to text you these comments.
Oh, poor old Spills. Bloody electricity gone. Unlucky, mate. Unlucky, mate. All right. Next one we got is from Jared Sim. G'day, Jazza. Hi, guys. Thoughts on the best replacement for Oliver? Thoughts on bringing in two of Humphrey, Wardlaw, Atkins, or similar for Oliver and a dead rookie, maximise cash gen, and then potentially double upgrade next week, or save cash for buys, no boosts left. So there's a little bit here. All right, best replacement for Oliver, boys. Give me one midfielder. You can pretty much afford anyone. Who are you going with? Best midfield. Don't worry about the buys, price. Who do you like, boys?
Laird.
I like Laird. Sarong, good shout, given the buy. He's got, 9 straight tons. That's ridiculous. Yeah. He's a jet. We haven't mentioned this yet, but I don't think holding Clary is the worst idea. Couple of reasons. One, we don't know how long he's out for. He could be out for a week, could be out for 3. The second reason is the main reason is that apart from this week, it's buy rounds from here. Best 18.
Yeah, best 18, yeah.
Dan, you showed us that it may not be the end of the world if you just have a rookie come on as your 18th play instead of Clary. You lose 70 points in a week.
Yeah.
But you save a trade on trading him out, and you save a trade in wanting to get him back in.
Yeah.
And
I just don't know how you get him back in. If you split his money, how do you get, as one of your last upgrades with the benches we've got, how do you get back in a 660K player in round 15? I mean, even with a double down, it's still hard to do.
Yeah. Like he's in 106,000 teams before this week, and he's already traded out by 20,000 teams.
Yeah.
So his ownership has already dropped 10%.
Yeah.
And if you think about it that way, he could just be he could get to pod territory by the time he gets back.
Well, I mean, I'm not in the position to be winning overall. I think if you're in the top 100, then you probably trade him, and you've got more than, say, 14 trades, 15 trades, you trade him out and hope to get him back in, and you just ride your luck. But if you're below if you're in the top 5K or below or something, and your main deal now is trying to win a few leagues, just hold him out. You might lose 50, 100 points for the next, maybe 150 over the next 3 weeks. But Clary, in 10 weeks of football, when he comes back, can make 10 to 15 points over any other midfield in the game. So he's probably going to make it back anyway, and you're saving trades. So I think long-term, I'm holding. I can see the reason why people would trade him out.
Yep, agreed. And just another primo I'll throw out there is Libba. I think he's been in great form as well, mate. So maybe Laird, Libba, and Sarong. 3 blokes just to take a look at, buddy. Thanks for that, Jared. Our next one is from an absolute legend, another one of my faves, Daryl Hall. How are you, Dazza? For what I can work out at this point, almost no teams have enough good rookies or mid-prices to go one up, one down and complete our teams. And buyers coming up. Should we go hard and hope a rookie miracle happens to finish our teams, or go slow and finish in round 16 to 18 maybe? Dan and I are actually talking about this off air. And we were saying that, look, possibly our teams may not even be completed after the buys. Traditionally, this is a time where we do look to complete our sides. I think it also depends on what players you've already got in the side, does it? So if you're missing your Dawsons, your English, I don't think many people are, but for example, your Bonts, then I think you've probably got to target a couple of those big blokes. But if you've got some of those Ubers already, then I think it's okay to look for value, mate. That's just my personal opinion. And look, with the rookie miracle, remember, we do have the mid-season draft coming up. We might get a couple of 102K blokes. Who knows about that? But look, at the moment, and I think Janath may have already mentioned this during the podcast, is that sometimes slow and steady can win the race. So personally, mate, I'd be on the side of going a little bit slower rather than going too nuts at the moment, because we know what can happen, particularly towards the end of the season with our trades, injuries, players get rested. There's so many things that can crop up, mate. So personally, I am slow and steady wins the race. Janath, I'm assuming you're the same after that comment before, mate.
Pick off the premiums you want, not the premiums that pop up, I guess. So now, I really want Clary in my final team. I want Sam Walsh or James Sisley, possibly, if I need sideways, a Will Day. I want a forward. That's what I mean. It's like, I want a forward, I want Clayton Oliver, and I want Lachie Neale. So those are three players that I'm really eyeing off, and I'll do what I need to get them. But in that Gold Coast Geelong buy, I'm not quite sure who I want to pick off after that one. I might just let that slide, or just bring in someone from the round 12 buy, because there's no real Gold Coast or Geelong players at the moment that are screaming, pick me.
Yeah, true.
As a premium. But yeah, slow and steady wins the race. If you finish your team after the buys, that's okay, because you'll be able to have 10 points, for instance, at a position more from that point on than someone else. And 10 by 9 rounds, that's 90 more points at least. And that's better than going early on a premium, a suspicious premium, a sus premium that you're not exactly sure on.
Yeah. Okay. My take on this as well is that I'm not sure about you guys, but I've already got like maybe Sheasel at F6, and then you've got like Day maybe at D6. So if you've already got these guys that are, maybe sub-premium, they're not the ideal guys you want in that spot. Getting in other guys that are risky into those lines means that you could have, like multiple players that you're not really happy with at the end of the year. So by holding those guys with the thought that if you've got enough trades late pre-SuperCoach finals, you may be able to jig it so that you can upgrade them. But if you've already got a few of these players that are sub-premium, you really want everyone around them to be as close to top of the line as possible. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, and you can have maybe, like, Janeth's got, like, a Degoe in, which may end up as his M8. Yeah, exactly. And, like, for me, Anderson might be my M8 by the end of the year. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, that could end up, like, right now he's sitting at M2 because of his price, but he could be my M8 by the end of the year. So just keeping that in mind, a lot of people have got players like Green and stuff that, it doesn't really matter where he ends up. A lot of us are going to have him anyway, but just try and go. Yeah, sorry, to put it bluntly, I'd rather be slow and end up with a better team than trying to rush these sub-premium guys in, get to full premium, have a couple of rookies on your bench that are sort of 250, 300K, and they're just sort of wasted there because you've got this sub-premium team and you can't really get anyone up because you've run out of trades,
Beautiful. Yeah. Hopefully that helped there for you, Days. Cheers, mate. Our next one's from Frogger. The legends keep on coming here. G'day, mate. G'day, fellas. How do you gauge Baldwin and Fleeton as rookies? I think we've pretty much gone through this. I wasn't huge on Fleeton, but I think Spills wasn't huge either. But Janath, you're a little bit hotter on Fleeton than the both of us, mate. And can Baldwin hold once Laverde returns and later Kelly? My personal opinion would be no. I think he goes out for those blokes. Would you potentially go early on one of the three potential rookies next week? Look, if I was to go early on any of them, I've got the most confidence in George Wardlaw over Fort or McAndrew. But again, a bit of a durability risk and you are paying up more. But I just rate him as the better player with the best job security personally. Boys, any so I think we all disagreed before on Baldwin. Janath, you think Fleeton is a realistic trading option this week, mate? If you need to go there?
Yeah, I'd bring in Fleeton over a Wardlaw, Ford, McAndrew. The last thing you want before the buys is to bring in a rookie that is good job security, that is good scoring potential. They get injured and you have a dead rookie over the buys.
Yeah.
So I guess just wait. Just don't break the cardinal sin. Even in the buy rounds, one of the things which I'll say is unless you got 15 players, you just need some points on field. Don't burn a trade to bring in a guy that's never played. He's debuting. I know last year a lot of people did it with Judson Clark and he was okay in his first game, but I mean it's just a short-term satisfaction. In the long run, that trade's probably going to be worth a bit more than that.
My only thing I can say quickly on Fleeton is I don't mind his job security, but there's this Fahey guy in the wings who's also a defender, and he might get a run with. He's not really a tall defender, but he's been killing it. He scored 160 fantasy points in the VFL last week, and I reckon he comes in this week as a first gamer, and when they get a few defenders back, he may actually hold and Fleeton goes out. So there's a little bit of a just something to think about anyway. So if you see him in the side, maybe Fleeton will probably hold, but who knows if he's going to be there right through the buys if this Fahey guy gets a run and starts playing well. So, but he's a downgrade I'll definitely be jumping on if he looks like he's getting a game, because shit, the kid can play.
Shit, boys, I've just realised we are really, really running low for time. So what I might do, great apologies to anyone that's got a question here. I will personally make sure I get back to the comment. But another thing that you can also do, just to get some other opinions and ideas, the great man Janath will be appearing on the Jock Reynolds Mailbag podcast tomorrow night. So they always put a Twitter post on asking if anyone's got any questions. Feel free to do that. But I promise you, I will definitely get to each one of these individual questions that I did miss out on. And also any of these blokes or ladies, feel free to send me a DM in anytime. So sorry about that, guys. We do need to move on because there's only a certain amount of time I can actually record for here. So we'll stop sharing the screen there. And very, very quickly, boys, did you want to do some quick trade and captain talk?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, I might lead us off just before I talk about my trades, which I'm actually don't think I'm going to trade this week. Just going to hold some of the higher break-even rookies like the Samson Ryan, 71 break-even. Farewell. I don't even know if it's a farewell game, but there's normally first game coach bounce. So I reckon Samson Ryan might be in for a good game this week. And some of the other rookies, Sam Simpson, just with the plethora of injuries at Geelong, Max Holmes, he's probably going to stay in the side. Might as well just give him another week. So don't really think there's many players I would trade. Loops don't look too great, though, with Roberts playing early, Cowan playing early, Chincotta playing early.
Yeah.
But one of the luxuries that I do feel I've really empathized with those that have these players, but Clayton Oliver and Josh Kelly. So I've got a stat here. In the top 1K, 12% of teams have both Jelly and Oliver, and 81% of teams in the top 1K have one of Jelly or Oliver. So I guess in that position, you're sort of afforded the luxury to just hold on to a couple of those trades and let a couple of people go past you trying to make up for those injuries there.
Yeah. I know that about 81% of the top 10K teams have Oliver. So it's like considerably more. I think it's 60% overall or something like that. So, 20%, like most of the big teams have Oliver. So that would mean that like maybe 13 or 14% have probably, maybe closer to 20% have Kelly. So, and then there's a bit of crossover there as well. But just quickly on my trades, I'm either going early on Eddie Ford or Fleeton. And I'm actually going to get rid of Samson Ryan because I want to get on Sinclair. Hollins is going out as well. Hollins and Ryan are both round 15 buy players. And, if you've watched the podcast, you'll see that I'm pretty stuck there. So getting rid of them early. I know they're probably potential holds and you could hold them, but I'd rather get in. Although if I am getting in one round 15 buy player, but it's only because there's not really anyone else that's on the bubble or close to being able to make some money. So I'm forced into going one of those guys, and then I'm going Sinclair because after that 160, he's going to shoot up in price. He's very reasonable. He's what was he? He was the highest. He's 100K down almost on his starting price, so or 90K down or something. So he's still 530 or something, and I think it's worth getting on him. Helps my buys, and yeah, I'm happy to jump on him now. I think Sicily's a good trade in as well. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm getting on Sinclair and one of those rookies, either Fleeton or early on foot.
Sounds like a plan. Look, I really don't know exactly what I'm going to do at the moment, but my plan at this stage is to go early on George Wardlaw. And I think I touched on this before. My plan is I've got Chincotta in my defense at the moment. I've got Wilmot in my midfield. Now, I will lose the loop for a little while, but I'm sure I'll get that loop back pretty quickly with some other plans that I've got. So my plan is, trade Chincotta out, send Wilmot down back, and bring George Wardlaw in, who's going to fill in for Clary, hopefully for the next few weeks. I really want a rookie on field who I think has good scoring potential. So it's certainly a risk going early on Wardlaw, but he's probably the bloke that I think can do the best job for me on field. This is if I hold Clary. I'm 90% sure I will. But you know what I was thinking? Just very quickly, another play I was thinking, I was looking at some mid prices that had a really, really low break even. So I was thinking to myself, would it be possible to trade Clary down to a mid pricer with a super low break even, maybe a really big score in his system? They could make close to just say 70 to 80K while Oliver's out. We know that some of our rookies have only made 100K this year, like your Cowans, like your Chincottas so far. So that was another strategy I was looking at. But the blokes, you know, you got your Benny Hobbs, and it's still not that low to make it really worth jumping on. So I don't think we've got the cattle to be able to actually make that move. But if we did, that's something I'd seriously consider looking at, is going on a really cheap, you know, one of those mid prices with a really, really low break even, and maybe trying to make some cash, get some good old on-field points as a bit of a different strategy. But I'll probably go away from it.
I looked at Benny Hobbs as well. He's forward only, which is kind of a bit of a thing as well. You know, like just I think that flexibility during the buys and stuff, and I think he'll do well over the next few weeks, to tell you the truth. But you know, he's got a limited time in that midfield when those guys come back. So, yeah, I don't know. I think he's good for fantasy or something, but not so much for SuperCoach.
I guess I'll fill in for Spills here, B's voice box for him. So from his words, he's trading now Radicalea and Anderson, and he's going to bring in Sicily and Sarong. He doesn't want to go early on anyone, and he has 180K before this trade, 10K short to go Saba to Sicily off one trade. So he's cashing in Anderson with the 200 BE because he sees more value in Sicily and reckons he will be more expensive than Anderson in 2 weeks for over 100K cheaper now. He thinks it's bold, would give him 19 premiums with 12 trades left. So 3 upgrades, 12 trades. I reckon that's pretty good. And then if we just want to lead straight into VCs and Cs, he's looking at Sarong, Caleb Sarong versus Melbourne, because Melbourne just give up bulk points to midfielders now, or Tom Stewart at home against GWS, and then captain Roy Laird. I think I might follow after that. So I've got similar to Spill. So I'm looking at Jack Sinclair against Hawthorn at Marvel. Jack Sinclair, Hawthorn against Marvel, or Tom Stewart versus the Giants, GMHBA. I think both of them have great ceilings, as you might allude to, Dan. And then as a captain, looking at a Marcus Bontempelli up at TIO Stadium. Going to be a high contested possession game, I reckon, with just how those games normally are up there. It's very hard to get control of the ball, but Bont is Bont. There might be a bit more tackles as well, and then the fallback, don't really like relying on the last game of the round, but the desk Roy Laird against against Brisbane. Brisbane also give up bulk points midfielders, but I suspect that he will have less than 10 tackles this week because Brisbane keep the ball in play a lot and they don't get tackled a lot. I'd love to do an analysis on, I know Collingwood ranks up there with the teams that allow the fewest tackles per game, but I feel like Brisbane would also be up there just because of the style of game that they play. So that might lower Laird's ceiling, which sort of worries me off a bit, but I think Sinclair to Laird feels the safe. Sinclair or Stewart into Laird or Bont feels the safest for me.
And the other thing about Lairdy is as soon as it gets cold, he loves a cuddle. You know what I mean? The guy loves a cuddle.
That's why I didn't tackle in round one. It was too warm for him.
Too bloody hot.
It was too warm.
He didn't want to tackle anyone. Exactly. And that's why he scored 50. At this time of year, you watch him come good, his floor raises about 30 points because he loves a cuddle. So he will be tackling the daylights out of everyone. And personally, I'm looking at him as a captain option. I agree with you on Sinclair. I think also Marshall, if Reeves is out, could do a number on Meek. Yep. I think he could be a sneaky VC. Looking at that, he's had a couple of big games recently against bad rucks. I think his last week he was 135, and one of those weeks before he did about a 160 or something. So he's in some form, and I think him or Sinclair as my VC, and then into Laird or Bont's always an option. So we'll look at him as well, but I'll have to look into it a bit more. It's hard with Bont because there's not too many stats on him playing up there. So it's not like you can say, yeah, he does well at Marvel or he does well. You know what I mean? Like playing in Darwin's a bit of an anomaly, and he's also had that a bit of a knee and stuff. So that sort of puts me off and leans me towards Laird a bit there. Anyway, we're raving on a bit. I know we need to go soon, so I'll shut up.
All right, and I'll just finish off with mine, boys. So the issue for me is with my loops this week. So Constable's the latest loop that I've got, and that's 7:25 on the Saturday. So I'll need to do something before that. I'm most likely to go Tommy Stewart at GMHBA against the Giants as my VC, and most likely go into Bont, which is the next game after that. And if it's not Bont, it's probably the desk. What I'd love to be able to do is go Bont into the desk, but I just don't have the loops there. Who knows? I may have some injury carnage during the week. And the loop will open up. But at this stage, the loops just don't work well for me, unfortunately, this week. I'd love to go Bont into Laird, but at this stage, it's going to be Stewart as a VC, and then probably Bont. It's hard to go past the Bont for me. So hopefully, boys, we have a decent score.
If it gets dropped, then I've got a loop in the last game. So
there we go. There we go.
I don't want it to happen, but yeah, I'm the same. Loops are funny this week, so yeah, I think I'll go one of those Saints boys as my VC.
Beautiful, boys. I think we can wrap it up there. We went for a little bit longer than what we were planning to, and apologies again for having to cut that mailbag short, guys. Really apologise about that, but as I said, we definitely will get to those individually as well. So, Dan, thank you very much for joining us, Legend. It's been a little while since we've had you on. It's been, well, the preseason team preview the last time that you came on the channel, mate, but we'll have to make this definitely more of a regular thing, mate. Always great to tap into your brain, not only for those Freo players, but we heard your buy plan, looking like you've got a bit of a plan going on there, mate. So thank you very much for joining us, mate. And thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, and thanks, Janath, and thanks, Spills. I know you're watching some of there. If you
the ghost of Spills is around, yeah.
Taste off the possum that's been eaten at the wires out there, or whatever it is. I'm sure there's some reason as to why he went on. He probably wanted something to eat anyway. But anyway, nice talking to you, fellas, and we'll get back on soon. And don't worry, I'll be watching you every week and keeping, and just quickly to the viewers out there, I know we're going on a bit, but if you ever want to get on SuperCoach Talk, I do a little bit of writing on there, and there's always there's a good community there if you ever want your questions answered on what you might want to do with your team and stuff. So just go and post it up there, and I'm sure someone will jump on and give you some advice. So
I'll second
yeah.
that. It's a bloody ripper community.
Yeah.
Bloody ripper
Yeah.
community.
Brilliant.
Janice, thanks as always, buddy. I hope your Blues do well this week. And Dan, hope the Dockers continue on with their good form as well. And I've actually, my boys have the Crows this week. My best mate Brent is a Mad Adelaide supporter, so I'll be going over there. Hopefully the reports will be done by then. Have a couple of cold ones and hopefully see a Lions victory. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, much appreciated. And we'll see you soon in the next one.
See
Cheers,
ya.
guys.